Hello and welcome back to my GTNH playthrough. It is December 5th and I feel like I've started every week's video this week out on this front lawn, but here we are again. So, leading off with where I left off yesterday, which when I logged into YouTube this morning yesterday, or the 12.4 video yesterday, for some reason didn't upload, so I'll end up with two videos today. But where I left off was I had just crafted the UV energy hatch, and like I said, I kind of brute forced it because I technically only had one freezer that was capable of making the UV superconductor wires. I did go through and upgrade all the freezers, at least these two, and then the ones down in the level maintain area. Again, just because the way I use these is all of them have ore dictionary cards, that so all the hot ingots just can kind of randomly go throughout the whole base. So I just want to make sure they're always on the same tier. The next thing I did was I have not rearranged how these are being done up here, but I did get all these guys upgraded, or these two in particular upgraded to ZPM. And then these guys are on a separate length of, or basically on a separate dynamo hatch now, so should be less power issues. And what I mean by that is sometimes if I was running too big of crafts and everything in the line was running, just they were all on one dynamo hatch, so they would occasionally power fail. That shouldn't be, in theory, shouldn't be an issue anymore. So this setup's nice. I also had my cubic zirconia crafting on this guy. Now I've moved it over here. I needed that cubic zirconia. I keep that on a level maintainer because I use it for the universal insulator foil for the coils. So I had thrown it over here because I was being lazy at the point, and I don't know why, about building another Volcanus or EBF, but so yeah, I just plopped one over here so it won't interfere with any crafts. But speaking of interfering with crafts, one of the things I definitely need to do is separate some of my different crafts I've got going on here. As I was trying to make some big crafts today, I was definitely running into throughput issues where, like, I was waiting on Eyes of Ender because I was crafting a bunch of these guys, which these things, even in the Mega EBF, take a whole minute to craft. And the last thing I was crafting was a bunch of fusion reactors, and I think I had like 200 and something of these that needed to get crafted, so it made it kind of like slowed everything to a halt for the whole day, just having everything kind of bunched up here. But I did have to fix and address a few other issues, so it wasn't too worried about it. Although I did have a goal I wanted to hit today that I definitely did not. But one of the main issues I needed to fix, and I finally figured out what was going on, is this is my polybenzylamol. I had mentioned it a few days ago where I had a issue because I didn't have any molten in the system, and I figured I actually had the wrong diagnosis. I was out of phthalic acid over here, but that actually wasn't the issue. So this particular LCR creates diphenyl something or another. Let's see, I believe it's diphenyl isophthalate. Yes. But as you can see, I actually have plenty of it, and that plenty of it was what was causing the issue. Both this LCR and this LCR share this output bus to save on space, but since I had maxed out and didn't have like an off switch for this guy, it also filled out this output hatch, so this LCR turned off, which then shut down the whole line because the rest of the line was working on that product. Once I figured that out, I did add an on-off switch, so this guy, it'll be a long time till this thing needs to turn back on, which will be nice because my phthalic acid will be able to recover a little bit. And I was down to like 400 like 15 minutes ago or so we're building decently back up. I mean, it's not super fast, but if this starts to build a backlog, it should last me for a good while till I need to address it again. Which Another minor part of this line is using nitration mixture, which I just threw down a new mixer for because that's sulfuric acid and nitric acid. I didn't want to leave this continuously running though because I had a ton of nitric acid like backlogged, and this thing ran through all the nitric acid incredibly fast. So I do need to put like a proper on-off switch on here, but that'll once I run into nitration mixture issues again, I'll come back and address that. The next thing I did, as part of doing this, was over in this mega chemical reactor. Just because now I'm fully caught up on phosphorus, just to get more use out of this guy, I did throw some sulfur over here, specifically on circuit 24, because this will get me sulfuric acid. Because that is another thing that just like base wide I was constantly running out of. But as you can see, that's at 25 million. I mean, again, this legitimately has not been running very long, and I was at 0 and constantly running out. So it is nice to have that doing a little bit of a backlog. I don't think I mentioned it yesterday, but I did go through and add additional parallels over here. I haven't gotten too crazy, but I'm starting to build up like other grades of water a little bit. So we got grade 1 again. My grade 3 is pretty high, but I'm consistently out of grade 2. I think it's because if I had to guess, I haven't looked too deeply into it. I'm pretty sure it's because the netherite line I used the grade 2 recipe for one of the steps on there. So I think it's just getting burned up in there. But that is okay. So what were all the big crafts I was talking about doing? So my goal today, I should say, so these big crafts, I was crafting a ton of fusion reactors. As you can see, I've got a bunch of the casings, 300 something. I've got 4, which one of these is technically meant to be sacrificed because I do want to make the Mark III relatively soon. I don't know. I haven't looked too hard into whether I can or not. Like if there's like a intermediate step I'm missing. I think it's technically unlocked in the quest book. Let's take a look. No. Quantum field IC, UV field generate. Okay, so no, it's going to be locked behind this wetware as well. So, I mean, I might even just end up using that Mark II then for something else. But the reason I wanted to do that, though, is because I want to make the Mega Apiary. This guy. Which I did go in here to see if I can, like, technically speaking, I can craft it for all intents and purposes. But there is one really big problem that is holding me back from being able to craft it now. And it is not this step. This step. Right here where I need nearly 1 million molten Americanium. This guy's been running all day. It's only at 300,000. So this stuff is really slow. I've got a couple of different solutions in mind. One is good old-fashioned bees. So, making bees to be able to make the industrial apiary to make more bees and better bees and improve that whole process. But where I'm currently at in the game, though, it's not the greatest because it'll be 4 combs, 8,000 helium plasma to get 1 ingot, essentially. Because even this next one, the nitrogen plasma, needs... I guess it only needs the Mark II. So maybe I'll look into setting up a fusion reactor, a tier 2 one, just to do this, so I'm not like eating all my helium plasma, because the helium plasma powers the base. Saying that out loud, yeah, I do like this better. That's funny that it takes molten beryllium. So that's one thing, but the other thing is obviously just paralyzing the current recipe, which is what my plan was, which is why I've crafted so much random stuff. So I've got the bunch of the Mark IIs, I've got the fusion casings, working on the coils right now. The coils was where I ran into some not throughput issues, but where I noticed I was out of the molten poly benza stuff. Because technically I need 96 of these to be able to set up the next 3 Mark IIs. Currently I'm just crafting a set of 32 to get me at least doubling up the Americanium I'm making. Because if we come in here where my fusion reactors are, I only have 1 ring that's a tier 2. I did, however, set up another tier 2 today, or Mark II, and that was over for my helium production. Whee! Hop down here. I set up this guy down here, and like I said, it's just making helium. It's just will make helium forever, because I was slowly losing helium plasma, but I started the day off at 150, and for comparison, yesterday I was somewhere closer to 200, so I was losing a decent pace, and I did not want to run out, because again, this is powering the base, and I feel like running out of power at this point would kind of turn catastrophic and annoying trying to fix, like addressing it after I've already ran out. So I did throw a Mark II down just to be able to go. So it is slowly creeping up. Technically I could probably use off with another one, but I'm just going to keep a close eye on it. If I start net negativing again, I will drop another reactor down, and just keep trucking along like that. But ideally, before I drop another reactor down, I would prefer to move on to a much larger tin plasma setup. But one thing that's kind of cool for, and I should have captured video of it, was the way I set this guy up was actually really fast, because after I crafted everything, I just went over to the Mark II reactor I have over at the other location, used the matter manipulator, copied that, and then pasted over here, and it dropped everything down, all the energy hatches, the batteries the right direction, everything. Like, it was great. It was like the easiest fusion reactor to set up ever. This is, I don't know, can't recommend using this thing more. Like, this thing is crazy. It's got me all fired up to be able to finish the pack out. I think could almost be more expensive with how powerful it is. It's kind of crazy. As you can see, I've got a huge area highlighted over there that I started working on clearing out. But yeah, I was a little sad to make the Friday video kind of end on this, where I don't have like too much crazy progress going on. Like I said, we're in UV now, which is cool, but I usually like to try to finish the week out with my goal today was making the Mega Apiary. But realistically, even if I got the fusion reactor set up here in the next little bit, by the time I have enough Americanum, and then when I go to craft the apiary, it actually needs 24 of these upgrades, 64, which are 8 of these guys, or 64 of these guys. I don't know why I'm saying the wrong numbers. Apparently I'm tired. So it's 64 of these guys, 64 of the acceleration 256, which then in themselves take the highest tier of world accelerator. And then look at all these UV components. Like, this is going to take hours of crafting. These are the things that are costing so much Americanum. I mean, it's going to be definitely worth it in the long run, because like all these, we can throw every bee I have into that thing and then still have like so much more room. Like all these guys that are just sitting here not making resources, all these guys, all of these things, everything that's upstairs in the random apiaries up here, like all the stuff. So it'll be worth it. My goal will be to craft that thing over the weekend and set it up at some point. And then for next week, I think overall the goal of the week, I think, is everything I've tried to like push for kind of randomly here is kind of directed me back to, I need to make this wetware. Like, I wanted to make the PCB factory. You literally need this board in the scanner to unlock it in the first place. So it'll be the apiary. So making the wetware circuits will be the early goal next week, and then kind of going from there to see what to do next. But yeah, I hope everybody has a good weekend. Appreciate you for watching, and I will see you next week. Unless I craft the Mega Apiary tomorrow, and then I'll make a short video celebrating. But that is a giant if, so no promises there. But anyways, have a good weekend. Goodbye.